life and a little sports. You know we're gonna play some games. And if nothing else, you know we're gonna have a laugh. We're gonna have a laugh, oh yeah. 'Cause this is the podcast.
Post-TradeCentre edition. Episode what? 22? 22 of the podcast? Yeah, this is always the most fatigued I will be for a podcast.
You look tired.
Although a couple of times at Stanley Cup Final or Masters when we've been out the night before.
The final by Game 6, you're usually yellow.
Those might rival
the
it.
hungover pods don't count.
Hey, look, what voice is that? It's Rod Smith, baby.
Franchise.
The voice of the TradeCentre documentary that's debuting at Sundance. Is there catch?
Yeah, I like to compare my contribution to yours on air on TradeCentre. We're pretty well even, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, if you add up the minutes and seconds, I think it would be close.
Well, and truth be told, on that, we were trying to get, if anybody who's listening, we did a mock documentary on Is There Ketchup on that, the legendary audio mistake, I guess, from last year when Jeff was ogling a hamburger. Stoff, everything okay, buddy? You got some issues in there? Right. Oh, setting up...
Technically.
Stoff is out of his little box. We actually get to see him.
He's alive.
Didn't expect Roddy to... Roddy showed up.
He got me headphones, and I must apologize because I jumped in ahead of Lester. I didn't know you guys were rolling yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're in.
That's okay.
Look it. You're Rod baby. You jump in front of Lester.
Yeah.
You jump in front of Puff.
Not that.
No.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I just want to say, because I don't have much time, because I'm just completely screwing up the start of your podcast, just hello, JD, hello, Puff, and a special hello to you, Lester. I want to make sure someone says hi to you. I want to make sure someone says, how was your week? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm doing well, thank you.
That's great.
How are you,
Good to
Roddy?
see you.
Since you can't stay for this whole thing, you're just dropping by. You have that whole Sports Center show thing to do.
Yeah.
How's everything?
Everything is good.
Yeah?
I mean, still in that routine. And then, now that the weather's getting a little bit warmer, starting to think about football again.
Yep.
So
baby.
Yeah,
It's coming.
Puff and I can hardly wait for the CFL.
Oh, Manziel.
And we're not going to have that conversation.
He'll be fresh off his spring league performance in whatever league he's in.
What I was going to say was, so Roddy voiced the short part of this mockumentary we did.
Yep.
And I will be honest with you, my original plan was for it to be an ESPN 30 for 30 and for Tom Rinaldi.
Who's terrific.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, first of all, we wanted to make it ours and your ours, and we talked about Farber too doing it. But I started to write the email to Tom Rinaldi. I'm like, dear Tom, James Duthie, I work at your counterpart TSN in Canada. You do such a great job on those 30 for 30 film docs, and we're doing a mockumentary on one where one of our analysts was ogling a burger and said, is there ketchup on that? When his microphone was left up, and we were wondering if you could... And then I just stopped, and I said, yeah, we'll get Farber or Rod to do it.
I thought you guys, with your time spent at Augusta National, do you not run into Tom Rinaldi?
We do, actually.
We do see him down there.
Yeah, but
it might have been more
not tight.
An in-person conversation.
Yeah. Or you said we should have gotten the NFL Films guy. What's his name? He's passed away.
Yeah, he passed away a few
But there's
years
another
ago,
guy. There's a new guy they have, right? Why don't you get that gig?
Yeah,
That should be yours.
I did do a demo for it a while ago.
Do one right now. Let's do
Here it comes.
Let's see.
do it like Bane.
No. John Facenda would be like, nothing on earth that blocked or tackled or passed or ran could have stopped the Raiders on Black Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's...
But the bigger question in NFL history is there ketchup on that?
See? You'd make a mint on that. I know you have to go, but we have to do one thing. I have to apologize to all our listeners. This is probably one of my crazier weeks of the year, so I've prepped zero for this podcast.
Yes.
As the intern wait continues. We'll figure out fandom on the fly. And the Rod Smith recap did not get done. But thanks to our incredible listenership, one of our intern applicants,
yes, that is the right word.
Okay.
This will be hired at some point, right?
We're doing a game tonight, and the day after TradeCentre is always the time where I can't even string a certain sentence together. But one of our applicants for the internship position has gotten so good that he is now writing the Rod Smith recap. So he sent us.
He's a smart guy.
He sent us a little track, and we'd like you just a little portion, like so. It's a one line that you're going to do, and then the sound. So go for it.
Hockey insider Darren Dreger stopped by the podcast to pitch his idea for a new game show for TSN's weekday afternoon programming.
Dog or penis?
There you go. There's it. That is that's Scott Reynolds at Scott CGR 14. So I thought I'd give him some love. If he's going to take the time, that's how you win the internship,
Exactly.
though.
Yeah.
You start writing.
I tell you, Scott's going to go places because on behalf of Rod Smith, baby, who says hello to you all, but right now he's at home very drunk and very upset at the trade deadline because Jimmy didn't get him a script. So he's got nothing to do today. So.
That's right.
Anyway,
by the way, didn't we? Wasn't Dog or Penis a show, Lester, on ESPN Classic for a while?
It might have been,
Buck
yeah.
Martinez hosted that. Roddy, we'll let you go. Thanks for
Good to see
dropping
you
by.
guys. Good to see you.
Enjoy yourself on SportsCenter. That's the great Rod Smith, baby, who came by for a very brief live edition of the recap. What were we talking about, gentlemen? First, everybody good?
Everyone's good, yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah.
Good.
We missed you yesterday. You guys, I got a shout out to you though.
Yeah, I saw the cameo. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, one of our producers, Sam Cicerello, he was doing, I guess he was doing an Honorable Senators game in Florida, and he saw it on ESPN in Florida. So he shouted out to me. So I broke through, baby.
Yeah, look at ESPN.
Yes.
I think I got. Did I get a podcast shout out
You
on
did
ESPN?
get the podcast shout out, so welcome our American listeners.
That's right.
So we were on ESPN. I guess we were on ESPN 3, which might be a streaming service. I'm not even sure.
I think that's the streaming service.
is, yes.
So,
So,
but
but
then
then-
we were on the Deuce.
Right. We were on the Deuce from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern yesterday. And we kept showing these flashbacks to previous trade centers throughout the day, and moments like Gino and the llamas.
So funny.
And Biron hitting Jennifer Hedger with the gun.
So funny.
And you doing all the songs, which was so great for that couple of years. So we right when we went on ESPN at 2 o'clock, the first thing that came out of break, I'm pretty sure, was Gino and the llamas. So, like, it would look like our tease, which is the opening of the show, and you hear me going, all right, there's something going on in the parking lot, the TSN chopper, piloted by Vic Router, and there's Gino Reda harnessing llamas. You imagine you're just sitting home, you live in southern Alabama, and you're going, let's see what's on the Deuce today, let's see what's going on over on ESPN 2. What the
hell is this?
Bloody llama.
What the hell is this show?
Again, these llamas?
And this is somehow a trade show, so yeah, but you know what? Who cares? If America accepts us, fine.
Hey, man.
If
Imagine the ratings were like through the roof.
ESPN too.
They can't explain
We get a show. They cancel that Stephen A. Smith show next week, and it's us two going back and forth. Lester playing the music in the background.
So good.
That'd be good.
Anyway, so what else do I want to tell you? Okay, so we were talking about. You got a clip from that little mockumentary we ran yesterday, stuff.
Sitting at the back desk, and I hear him say it.
Is there ketchup on that? Is there ketchup on that?
I'll never forget, heading to the airport with a lot of thoughts in my mind, and the one that just stuck out to me was there ketchup on that?
Whose fault was it? Does it really matter? I mean, the whole thing's a mystery.
Yeah, good times. So,
How do you say ketchup, James?
Okay, so Lester, I showed this to Puffy the other day.
Yes.
And because Puffy is always very good at feedback, whether, what he likes, what he doesn't like, because he's a man of the people.
Of course.
And he says, I was really disturbed by the fact you can't say ketchup properly, that you say ketchup. Because in the Ottawa Valley, where I grew up, you say ketchup. That's our accent.
Sound like Ed Sheeran saying grass. Grass. What the hell is that, Ed Sheeran?
So he's like, you need to change that. It's very distracting. I did, and I went I went ketchup all the way.
Ketchup, 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 ketchup.
I kept refreshing Twitter looking to see people making fun of you.
I say ketchup.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch up with you later.
Thanks,
Ketchup.
man. Ketchup.
Yeah.
Like ketchup?
Ketchup.
Oh, so
Ketchup.
I said wrong?
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Ketchup.
You say ketchup.
You can see ketchup.
I know it's wrong because it's ketch, like Ketch, but that's an Ottawa Valley thing. Ketchup, baby.
Valley, yeah.
Ketchup.
Are you here to solve my ketchup problem?
So that was the thing I love about this company, frankly, is that they'll support us in doing these idiotic things. I mean, that was as stupid gets, right?
Yeah, but it was funny.
And these things cost money. To get Curtis Lazar, we had to book a camera crew. It cost $2,500
for one clip.
Forget Curtis Lazar to say that.
But it was a money clip.
Yeah, you think that's, Curtis Lazar played along, so why the hell not? So the other thing was Wallace. So we were also going to fly Wallace in to Toronto just for his clip. No, an actual interview clip that would air in the piece. But because the trade started happening in Ottawa, we couldn't get Wallace in here.
Okay.
And so I came up with this idea of having Wallace to leave an angry voicemail for O'Neill. So I texted Wallace, and again, Wallace was the guy that I was about to speak to about the Curtis Lazar trade on the air when Jeff's mic was left up, and he said, "Is there ketchup on that?" And so I said to Wallace, just do an angry voicemail about how Jeff stole your moment in the limelight. And then, if you want to swear once, we'll beep it out. And he sent about 4 takes, and they were so angry. And Josh Scheiman, the great producer of this thing, had to go, "Hey, Brent, you need to tone it down. Just be a little bit angry." And that's the one we used. But here's the outtake of really angry Brent.
"Jeff, it's Brent. Listen up, Burger Boy. I'm pissed. That was my time on national TV, and you ruined it. Who the do you think you are? I'm gonna get you."
Wallace at his finest.
You know what, though? To me, it just goes to show, number one, the quality of our people here, in the sense that they're willing to step up and put themselves. I mean, listen, you guys are all professionals. Mm-hmm. Your reputations are very important, and as such, you don't want to be seen as, you want to be taken seriously. But he was willing to put himself out there. So,
well, I think you have to once in a while, especially on a day like this, which Canada's smart. We know it's ludicrous for us to do this. I say this every year, for it to do 10 hours. So if you can't be self-aware as a network to do stuff like that what you're doing is lunacy, then you can't. So the other thing we did was we wanted to do, you and I have done songs on Trade Deadline for 2 years. We probably did 20 songs together.
Something like that.
Right?
Something insane.
And so the guys, Josh again and Matt K, 2 of our producers, had talked about they wanted to do like a Beastie Boys type song. About fourth line winger, how the fact that we talk about Eric Carlson and big stars all the time, but usually the trades are about fourth line wingers. And we ended up calling up B. Rich, who's a hip hop artist from Kingston who did Out for a Rip.
Just still for rip, are you back? Just still for rip.
Yeah, which went crazy viral on the internet and basically gave him a career to tour around Canada and playing that song. And then we did the old TSN version of Out for a Rip. So on very short notice, we had one conference call between Cade and I and B. Rich and one of B. Rich's buddies who does the music with him. And basically, we threw out a bunch of things that happened on the trade deadline and tried to get a vibe for the song. And then he went back for a couple of days and wrote the song and ended up with this.
I'd say San Jose's adding some grit. What do you think, Duff?
I don't give a shit.
Will they make another move?
I don't know. Let's go to Brian Burke.
No.
What's gonna happen? Nothing. The boys on their phones and the James is Duthie.
No.
The James is Duthie. The boys on their phones and the James is Duthie.
No.
Duthie.
No.
Duthie. Frig. I kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
I was saying the James is Duthie all afternoon.
Well, it's a catchy tune.
You got a catch on? Duthie?
No, probably not. Because last year it was those guys from Letterkenny calling me Duthers.
Duthers.
And I heard about that for about 3 months and then it faded away. I don't know if Duthie will last or not. But again, I just think back about when I got into this business and took journalism. And the fact that I'd be standing around with these 3 hip-hop guys and I don't think there was many shots in there. There might have been one, but I was wearing a leather vest and I had my tie tied around my head. And the funny thing is, Lester, you might know this, but when you're shooting videos, and I guess this is the way for all sort of hip-hop videos or even rock videos, is that to get the super slow-mo effect that still goes to the beat, you have to do it. They have to play the song at double time.
Yes.
And then you have to dance to it at double time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so, where they've set us up in all these lit areas and they say, just dance funky for this particular scene. But you have to dance double time.
So, like, super, super fast.
What's gonna happen? Nothing. The boys on their phones and the James is Duthie.
No.
The James is Duthie. The boys on their phones and the James is Duthie.
So I'm just like... And I'm still trying to do it to the beat, right? And have some sort of groove. Puffy's a good dancer, so he knows I'm trying to. And you're at the end, like, so the song takes a minute.
Yeah.
And you are winded, baby.
Oh, yeah. You'd be super gassed.
You had to do that for Don't Take My Goal Away, too.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's the first time we had to do it that way.
Yes.
And to see O-Dog and Noodles dance at double speed is just absolutely
How
legendary.
many music videos do you have out there? Because there's
I guess
a few
it's going to be 2 now. Right?
No, there's more.
No, actually, sorry. Buck Over Glass.
Buck Over Glass.
Don't Take My Goal Away.
Don't Take My Goal Away.
Now
Rip.
Out
Out for Rip. So I guess we have 4.
We're going to get close to where you can almost have like a half-hour Much Music special. All your music.
It's got to be an old Much Music guy, though. They got to bring like J.D. Roberts back from his news. What is he at Fox News or something like that right now? Anyway, good times, and we thank everybody for watching TradeCentre. We what else did we have? We had the we had to fill a lot of time yesterday. We had the guy who got traded for the Bussy.
That was good.
Tom Bussy Martin on. The Quizmaster was very proud because that was his get.
He loved it.
And he was just, I could hear him. Sometimes I can hear him giggling in the background with glee. It's funny though. I was oh god, this is going to sound lame. I was about to say I was at the gym today. I hate when people drop in like gym stories. Yeah. But the guy who trains me is a guy named Dave, who's actually a really good goalie. And he was talking about that Bussy Martin guy because he'd watched it yesterday, and he told me a story that we didn't know, that I'd never heard before, of a minor league player named John Ronan, who this guy used to train, my buddy Dave, who played for the Flint Generals in the IHL. Now, the IHL originally merged with the AHL, and then they tried to start the IHL up again.
Yeah.
And they had no money, so it was a real iffy league. So this Flint Generals team, I guess, had... the owner bailed the last second before the season started.
Yeah.
So they literally had no money.
Yeah.
But it was too late because they had the schedule and everything, so they had to start playing. So they were just trying to survive on a day-to-day basis. And John Ronan was the captain of the team. And his skates were falling apart, I guess. So he went to whoever was running the team, the general manager or whatever, and said, I got to get new skates at some point. Do we have any money in the budget to get new skates? And I don't know, a week later, these new skates show up, and he's like, thank you so much for getting me new skates. Like, how much do they cost? And he goes, oh, no, we traded a guy. They traded a defenseman to another team, and the other team bought them skates. That was the deal. No word of a lie.
Oh, wow.
That's the stuff of minor league hockey.
Wow.
What else do we have on TradeCentre? Daryl Sutter came by. Daryl
Sutter.
Which is one of my favorite guys, because in the early days, I was kind of terrified of Daryl. When I first started doing NHL on TSN, I didn't know him very well, and I would always just see him at the draft when he would come up on stage with the Flames or whatever, draft a player, and they'd come down and sit with you, and he looked like he wanted to kill me at all times. Really? And one particular year, I asked him a couple questions he didn't like, and at the end of the interview, right after I threw back, he got up and he punched me in the shoulder so hard that I almost buckled me, but it was lovingly. It was, the guy's got did you look at his forearms yesterday at all?
Massive.
He was sitting at the bar in the hotel we stayed in the night before, so he had the farmers. He's a cattle rancher.
Yeah.
He's just for a man who's in his 60s or whatever, just massive arms. But then I went and did a piece on Daryl after the Kings won their second Stanley Cup, and he was the nicest guy. We interviewed him. And then we were leaving, and he said, "What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing now for dinner?" Sorry, that sounds like bad Sylvester Stallone, but I can't really do Daryl. And he took the entire crew out for dinner, and we sat and drank beers and talked for 4 hours, just Daryl telling hockey stories.
That's awesome.
So he's a great guy, but he's hard to understand sometimes.
Well, I just think he has the weirdest life. He lives on the farm, and he's a farmer, and then he takes an NHL job with the Kings, and he's now living in LA, coaching an NHL team, and living that life.
It's crazy. And then goes back to being a cattle
6 a.m. You're getting up to do
traded his son, traded his brother. He's as hard ass gets.
Listen, he's a businessman. Well, I always remember too the cameo in the Hangover. That's him, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know if we've ever talked about that before on here, but that was one of the greatest gets of my career, because Matt Cade and I did that piece together, wrote it and everything, and it was coming right down to the wire whether it was actually going to happen or not, because I didn't have an ending.
Yeah.
And then when I came up with an ending, we couldn't figure out who would be the ideal guy, who would be the guy who spiked the drinks at the end. And then I think one day I said, Daryl Sutter. I said, yeah, we'll never get him. And so I called the PR guy for the Kings, who I know really well, and I said, it was about a 3-page letter explaining what the hell you were doing. You try to explain that piece.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we're doing a parody of The Hangover, in which Darren Drager and I will get our drinks spiked, and Aaron Ward will go missing, and would Daryl do it? And the guy, about 2 days before we were supposed to fly to L.A. to shoot this piece, and we still had nothing, we were about to cancel it, the guy writes me back and goes, yeah, Daryl's in.
That's what you get for picking the Canucks last year.
Awesome.
And it was just the strangest thing.
Awesome. You had no backup though. Who would you?
No, we did. I think we were going to cancel it because we didn't really have an ending for it.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So, and he was, but he does. I don't know that he has a sense of humor. The funniest thing about TradeCentre yesterday is sometimes Daryl would be sitting there.
Oh yeah.
And he's sitting next to me. Like we did a couple of segments together, and we'd come out a break, and they'd run one of these, like a Jay and Dan piece. And it would, so crazy, idiotic, funny stuff. And that you could tell that's not his sense of humor.
Just nothing from him.
He's just staring like, oh, what the hell is this?
but people are asking him are you having fun or whatever? He's like, oh, it's pretty cool.
He kept going, this is the greatest. I love this. It's so cool to watch.
He was pretty enthralled.
He's a fantastic guy. We did a piece once after they'd won that second Stanley Cup. Do you remember when we did this? We did a fake game show called Daryl Sutter Won or Lost, and we played it for players.
Oh,
we took post game clips from his news conference and said, "Can you tell if he won or lost?"
It was really good.
And you can never.
Tell.
We're talking about the Stanley Cup final, the Western Conference final, and you have no idea if he won or lost, which is something else. Crap! I didn't talk about iDrinkCoffee.com, one of our favorite sponsors off the top. To podcast is brought to you by iDrinkCoffee.com. Maybe should we do Puffy's Hypotheticals brought to you by iDrinkCoffee.com today?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know you didn't really have anything, but you scraped together something at the last second.
On the way here.
All right, let's get to Puffy's.
Puffy's hypotheticals are messing with my mind. Puffy's hypotheticals, what's it gonna be this time? Puffy's hypotheticals are blowing my mind again. Puffy's hypotheticals.
We talked about all the songs we've done.
Oh, yeah.
That's still my favorite.
Oh,
It's very good.
Should have done a video for that one. Okay, Puffy, lay it on us.
Would you give up your sense of smell for the rest of your life to be able to read traffic patterns perfectly? So you can you always know which lane to be in traffic.
For the rest of your life?
The rest of your life, yeah.
You will cut down...
Yeah, like your commute's going to be...
in half every time?
And no stress because you're always going to know where to be.
Oh my God!
And all you're giving up is your sense of smell.
How about I keep my sense of smell and download Waze?
You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. Or Google.
Waze
Google
is very
Maps.
dangerous.
So this is going to be much more efficient than Waze.
Yeah, because Waze will tell you which road, but this is going to tell you the specific lane.
Boom,
to be
boom,
in.
the whole time.
Yeah, like little sliding patterns, right?
Now, since you suggested this, Puffy, will you give up?
Yes. Yes. On my ride here, I'm sitting there saying, I wish I had that ability.
Is that how you came up with this?
Yes.
Wow.
So you can never smell anything.
No.
You know, a hot steak on the barbecue.
No, but you can taste it still.
Aren't they linked senses?
Probably.
Yeah, they are.
I haven't done the research behind this.
You can't. You can't
I think they're linked. I don't think you can taste if you can't.
So you're now giving up taste and
that
smell.
just ruins the hypothetical in her.
Okay, so but hypotheticals are fantasy.
all
So in our
fantasy,
world, you're still going to be able to taste.
Still can taste,
but you can't smell.
Yes.
For the ability to read traffic.
Doctors are alarmed right now.
You know, that is your dumbest hypothetical ever, and yet it still be my favorite.
Yes.
It still might be my favorite.
That's hilarious.
I'm getting dumber listening to this.
Hey, if we're getting dumber doing it,
yes,
then you can get dumber listening to it. I'm gonna take it because I haven't smelled well my entire life.
Exactly.
I had to have one of those. I think it's deviated septum.
Oh,
when I was in college, everybody in college thought I had a nose job. If you looked at my nose right now, you know I didn't have a nose job because I couldn't breathe. Well, talk about a terrifying thing, by the way. So you have the operation, they knock you out, and then you have these cotton balls stuck up your nose, right? And they just said, well, there's some wires and stuff up there, so we'll take it out in 2 weeks, or a week, or whatever it is. So you go into the doctor's office to take it out, and they start pulling, and that wire is about freaking feet long. And I'm going,
No.
like, it's unbelievable how long this little connection is in your nasal cavity and the amount of crap that they can put
I'll
up
give
there.
you a worse story. I'll give you a worse story than that. I had at one point what's called nodules on my throat, on my vocal cords. Very serious, actually. So I went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, and he goes, okay, I've got to check. And he puts in about 4 feet, like in my nose, puts in the same thing. I'm awake, right up my nose, a camera right down into my throat. See, that's uncomfortable.
God.
Yeah. You ever had the thing in your penis?
No, I haven't.
I had one of those. I was having, like, in my 20s, I was having to get up and go pee in the middle of the night like 5 times, like a 95-year-old man.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually mental that I started to go once and then I couldn't fall back asleep and I had to go again.
Yeah.
So I go to the doctor and I say, well, we're going to have a look in there. And they don't put you out, but I think they do a little.
Why can't they put
do
you
a
out?
little local freezing.
That doesn't do
Even
And
worse.
so it doesn't hurt, but you can feel something odd.
The mental scars would be there.
And you see the actual little camera cable. It's a camera putting in there to have a look in there.
God.
Boy.
Like, come on.
At the same time, it's amazing how
tiny.
wide you're.
Really?
Yes,
Yes,
it
it is.
can get really wide.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, I don't want to get farther than that.
No,
I
that's
think
good.
Jay and Dan have done that on the podcast where they had a buddy whose like hole shrunk up or something.
Yeah?
Ew.
Stopped the openings.
Get out, really?
So,
God.
Man.
Thank God.
so I'll let the penis hole discussions be on the Jay and Dad podcast, but I need to share because sharing is what we do here,
Yes.
isn't
That's
it?
what we do. Sharing.
So are you keeping your sense of smell, Lester?
I am keeping my sense of smell, definitely. I want to know if there's a gas leak.
I'm supporting Puffy.
I'll see you 10 minutes later than me.
That's right, sucker. We'll be at the party way before you,
and Puffy
Lester.
are going to blow up because you can't smell the gas.
Damn it.
Him and all his ideas. Hey, Stoff.
Yeah, like think of all the smells you won't be able, like the bad smells you won't be able to smell. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go to the bathroom down the hall here. And not
just
notice
like
a thing.
nothing. You could
Isn't that
sleep
the
in there.
worst? There's
Yeah, you could bring a little sleeping bag in that
Man,
disaster, and there you go.
There is a bathroom. I'll have to. Then we tell an inside stories here. There's a bathroom that on the 3rd floor in the not the West Wing, on the other side of the building,
Okay.
between the annex. It smells awful, like almost all the time.
You think?
now. I think somebody's in there just peeling tiles all
wow.
the time. It's awful.
Well, everyone in here has their own bathroom.
Yes,
they
it's very
go to.
true.
I have my own bathroom.
Yeah, well, you actually
You have your own
own.
bathroom?
Yeah.
You wrote that
Look,
into the deal.
No,
eh?
I have a dressing room, and that is probably the biggest perk I have here because there's not many that have them. My dressing room is a dinky little, not impressive thing, but it does have a toilet, and that's a very nice thing to have.
Huge.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Big time.
Yeah.
Jeff O'Neill yesterday. in the middle of TradeCentre, he's like, I have to go for a while. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I'm gonna miss a segment or two. And all he does is, so what do you mean? And he just points at his ass. And so we do like the next 2 segments in the middle of the day without him. Then he comes strolling back in and sits
It
down.
was at like 3:07. It's like the deadline just passed. We're coming up to our big panel, and there's an empty chair there.
I know, imagine. Eric Carlson has just been dealt. Jeff, your thoughts?
Is that where he said his nose was bleeding?
I don't know.
There was one point he's like, I gotta go, my nose is bleeding.
Let's put it this way.
Gone for like 20 minutes.
It's a good thing his mic wasn't on this year.
Yeah, that would be a whole different documentary. Speaking of he'll hate me for doing this, but I don't know if this runs. I guess this only runs in Toronto. But local radio commercials are the best. I'm sure in whatever market you are in, the TSN personalities or whatever station you listen to do commercials. Hi, I'm Dave Naylor for some car company or whatever it may be. So have you heard O's? O's got they have all sorts of these ones, but O's got one for some.
It's the Irv. It's the bar called the Irv.
My
wife actually knows the guy who owns it.
And I guess they've named some sort of the beef dip or something
sandwich
after it. But this is O's. I almost drove off the road when I heard this the other day. This is O's line.
Yeah, you've got to try my O-Dog's beef dip. It's flat money.
So, first of all, when's the last time somebody used the phrase
flat money?
And
1992.
and second, it doesn't even sound like, that's not even his voice.
No,
Flat money.
it's never a good sign when the amateur guy who's doing the commercial is better than the professional. It's flat money.
So poor
The O-Dog beef dip. It's flat money.
I texted him and I said, I hope you got a lot of flat money for saying that line.
I think he's got a few beef dips.
He was a little sheepish about the whole thing. But having said that, I'm now anxious to try the beef dip.
Oh, no chance I would touch that.
At the IRF.
The wings are good there, though.
Yes, are they?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to fandom. All right, fandom question last week was an interesting one. We had that skier at the Olympics that went down the half pipe.
Yeah.
And just went back and forth and looked like basically not a novice skinner, but
No, I'd say,
skier, but pretty novice skier.
Yeah.
Right? And so she was big story at the Olympics, kind of an embarrassing story, competing for Hungary, although she's an American. And we asked the question, would you be her? Would you be that person who would go to the Olympic Games and get to be an Olympian and for the rest of your life say you were an Olympian, but you're kind of an embarrassment as an Olympian? And I think all of us said no, right? Did anybody say they would go? Even you, Puffy, who love the
I said
fame.
I'd go.
I said no.
Oh, yeah.
I would run through the hurdles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because if you're going to do it like her, you got to do it wrong, too.
Yeah.
So.
That's right. Stoff was going to do it 100%. But I thought that this poll, I was worried about this poll, frankly, because I thought it was going to be 85% say no.
Yeah.
And instead, the majority, 53%, as I look at this right now, said they would actually go to the Olympics, and 47% said no. So here are some of your answers we got from there. I'll read. First of all, we had the longest answer. I'm going to get to it at the end because I think I'm going to award this guy the prize simply out of pure volume. And the fact
overwhelmed you.
He got the most likes on fandom, which should matter a little bit.
Huge.
Of course.
Craven Moorhead is back.
Oh, God.
Absolutely worth it. The sports equivalent of getting a fake ID and hitting the bars with the legal ladies. And see, it's a little metaphor he's saying there. So you're getting to go to the Olympic Games.
Yep.
We didn't say he was going to win. I think it's worth the embarrassment. This is JKens 3416, because how many people can say they were in the Olympics? Yeah, she's a laughingstock right now, but in 10 years, she can tell people she was there and nobody will remember her name, so it won't be embarrassing then. Not a bad point.
True, but
do you think
Google
people will remember that story?
Google. Yeah, I think people will. 10 years from now,
We're still talking about Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah.
But Eddie had a movie and all that stuff that came with it.
Oh, it happened to her.
Let's see, Emaski. This is setting yourself up to be the Olympic loner. Go to the cafeteria, sit alone. Go to the closing ceremonies. Your teammates leave an empty seat between you and them. At least try to look like you belong, and maybe don't mooch an Olympic berth off a country you don't even live in. Boom. Very strong.
That was strong.
Strong from Emaski. Detritus, worth the embarrassment, probably not. Worth the chance to take part in the scene that is the athletes' village. Oh yeah.
Oh,
see, that's kind of thought the answer.
I didn't do a deep dive on that.
I thought that I would get from Puffy at this point in time. Landon Fama, of course I would. It's like asking if I'd go with Roddy to the compound. I don't bat switch, but I would for the Rodinator. What is going on?
Wow.
Jesse Cardinal, pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever. Hashtag Shane Falco. Hashtag Rubber Boots Pod.
Yep.
Shane Falco, what movie was that?
That was
The Replacements.
Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Do you know that, give me the, well, no, you've just answered half the question. The two successful Hollywood films that Keanu Reeves played a Ohio State quarterback whose career had ended with a knee injury. So The Replacements is obviously one. Shane Falco comes back, gets to the NFL during the strike. What is the other movie that Keanu Reeves played?
Point Break?
Yes! Wow. Very
Look
good.
at you.
I was going to say John Wick.
I heard those John Wicks are good.
Yeah, they're good movies.
They are good. I've
They're
only
very
watched the
good
first
I
one.
haven't seen them.
I heard the same thing, and I watched. It's a good plane movie.
Yeah,
you know, it's ridiculous cartoon violence.
Yeah.
No, it's
but
really
it's good.
good.
Like
It's really good.
you killed my dog. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's always funny.
So good. Keanu's so good in those movies. Not a lot of dialogue, so it works.
He seems like a good guy.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
I think he'd be an all right dude. I think he's a strange dude, but I think he's probably an all right dude. Okay, let's get to our winner. Sad Sahider won. This is a long one. It is absolutely not worth the embarrassment to yourself, not your family, or your country. I don't necessarily have a problem with a wealthy person taking advantage of the rules to make their way to the Olympics. I would do it to represent Pakistan or Canada at certain sports, but don't make a mockery of the sport. The men's 15-kilometer ski event was mentioned on the podcast, was great. I was watching that event live at 2 a.m., because Pakistan had one of their 2 athletes at these Olympics in that event. I do the same if Canada ever makes it to the Cricket World Cup. He finished 108th out of 119, but didn't make a mockery of the sport, didn't embarrass himself. Same goes for the athletes from Colombia, Tonga, and Mexico, who were the last 3 to finish. 15K is 15K. That means something. German Madrazo grabbing a flag and carrying it across the finish line, even though he took twice as long, was great. The podium guys greeting the 3 guys to finish last will be one of the highlights of these games for me. I just thought he put in a lot of time. It was passionate there.
And that's how I feel, too. I feel that same way.
Yeah, so we like to reward the humor, but we like to reward people who really care.
That's flat money.
So
that answer's flat money.
That answer's flat money. This is going to be our podcast meme.
Yeah.
We didn't come up with a name for it yet for the rest of all
anytime
time.
someone has a great fandom answer,
Flat money.
we'll just chime in with that.
So I forgot the taglines that I always bring and read for Fandom and I Drink Coffee, so I'm just going to have to wing it. I'm going to say, this is brought to you by Fandom. It's a great app that you put on your phone, and you go on the Rubber Boots pod and you win stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That was well done.
I could add a little enthusiasm to it. Eh?
Yeah.
No, go on and get Fandom. It's a lot of fun. More and more people going on there every single day.
And speaking of Fandom, I said last week I was going to have a song for it. I will have a song for Fandom.
A Fandom song is coming?
Week. Next week I will have a Fandom song.
Nice. And by the way, idrinkcoffee.com, which sponsored Puffy's Hypotheticals today, we had one of our listeners write and said they bought a beautiful...
Looked awesome, too.
Beautiful
red
espresso machine that they gave to their lovely lady.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I think
she was thrilled.
A lot of sex happened after that.
You know what? The only person who's getting more sex than that guy is Stoff after he played that song I wrote for him for his wife.
Darlene?
Veronica loved it, yeah.
So is that our new tagline then for idrinkcoffee.com?
It's
you
flat
buy an
money.
espresso machine, you're going to get a lot of sex.
Yes.
They should use that.
That's not bad.
We were going to have Slavic on, but we decided, as we're taping this, TFC is about to play their second leg of CONCACAF.
Yes.
So we'll have him on next week to talk about that in the beginning of their season.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't want to have it, timing odd where he had to talk about a game that didn't happen, and then people are listening to the pod and saying this whole damn thing is old. The Fandom question for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen to this.
Yeah, this is an old school question, but it's a really interesting one. And this came up years ago. Different hockey players we've had on the panel actually said this is a question that is talked about in hockey dressing rooms. Mm-hmm. And I came to think about it again because of the trade deadline and the idea of guys trying to win a cup at their end of their career and go into a contender and all this kind of thing. So here's your option, gentlemen. You can have a really good NHL career. You make it to the National Hockey League. You're a prominent player. You do well. You get a couple of good contracts. Let's say you make $50 million in your career.
Yep.
And you don't win a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
So you retire with $20 million in the bank. $20 million in the bank, retired at the age of 35.
Perfect.
Okay.
Or you're a bit of a plugger. Mm-hmm. Okay, fourth line winger, like our song. But you get around, you play a while, you're kind of a minimum salary guy, maybe get a couple deals at $1.3 million each. Mm-hmm. You win a Stanley Cup.
Now, are you a prominent?
You're a player,
like a player, like
you're a player.
You play a regular shift.
You play a regular shift.
Okay.
Dave Reed did that with Colorado, one of our commentators, and I think won a couple of those Stanley Cups.
Yes.
But so now your career's done. You have $4 million in the bank, so you've done well. You've put a little money away, but you're, again, 35 years old, so you have the rest of your life in front of you. So, $20 million and no ring, $4 million and a ring. You want to start, Lester?
I'm going to start. I love the question, by the way. I think it's a great question. People would say probably take the money and run. However, I'm looking at it this way. I'm an NHL player. I got into the business or the profession of playing hockey to win the Stanley Cup. There's a lot of players out there that don't get the opportunity to win that cup. I think it's a great thing. Lester McLean, Stanley Cup champion, $4 million. I'll take that. And with that, I think comes the opportunity, as you said, Dave Reed, done well with us here.
Make a little more money.
Coaching. I think if you have that on your resume, I think you can go and do more. And quite frankly, live a longer, fuller life, still enjoying the benefits of the National Hockey League.
What's the quality of my $4 million life?
$4 million.
It's definitely true that in all sports, championship, Super Bowl champion, World Series champion, whatever it may be, that probably takes you a little further if you want to be a broadcaster or things like that. Puffy? And we have to do pure honesty here, okay?
I'm taking 20 million. And because I actually don't think the Stanley Cup or the championship means that much. I think people have made it out to be a big deal. I mean, personally, probably it means something. I'm sure if you're a player and you didn't win a championship. But I don't look at Ray Ferraro any differently than I looked at Aaron Ward as far as their hockey careers. I mean, just because Aaron Ward won cups, won one? Two?
He won three.
He won three.
He won
three
cups.
Yeah, because he had two in Detroit and one with Carolina.
Yeah, now the first year in Detroit, he wasn't much. The biggest one for him was Carolina because he played a
big part.
significant role,
absolutely.
right?
But, I mean, I'm sure, I know Ray, it's always bothered him, or he really wanted a cup.
We need to, you know what I'll do? I'll ask Ray this question this week.
Yeah.
And because I'd be curious to his answer.
Yeah, but I just don't think that people will look at someone as being, he won I think if you're like Tom Brady, it's a big deal. He's a champion. But if you're, I don't look at like Trent Dilfer and be like, that guy won a Super Bowl. He's awesome or something. Like his life's better.
We've had this discussion before here that I almost think like it's always bigger to fans almost to win a championship.
Yeah.
That's certain guys. Ray Bourque played his whole career. That's all they ever want. I'll let you answer, Stoff, before I give my answer.
I'm taking the cup, and the $4 million goes towards funding Murder Island.
Fantastic.
I'm getting cut out of my own show.
You see, I almost wonder if we should have lowered the money. I'm tempted to take the 20 million too, and I think most of our listeners would be upset at that because $4 million. And maybe we should have lowered it to $2 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Because $4 million is a lot of money for anybody out there, but $4 million, $20 million, you're set for life, and your family's set for generations.
Yeah,
right.
You're set.
And man, that's a tough one. I'll go with you, Puff, because if you're going to take heat for this, I'm going to take it with you. But it's a really difficult call. And I will say, by the way, that when players have this discussion, usually the numbers are 20 and 7. That's the NHL player discussion.
Yeah.
Is $7 million in the bank and a cup ring or $20 million. Right. And most of the players I've talked to have said they've taken the $20 million.
Yeah.
But it's been relatively split. But we were trying to lower it to a number that the average person would say, and maybe it's 2 or maybe it's 3. How low would the money have to be for you to change to the $20 million?
$8.
No, so let's say it was $1 million. So you have $1 million in the bank.
Okay, yeah, maybe I changed to the $20 million.
Okay, well, $2 million?
$2 million, probably still change to the $20 million.
Yeah, so it's 4 is like about the number, right?
Listen, I think the $4 million assumes I have a house, I have a car, a family, whatever. $4 million, house, car, family.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
But you're young.
I mean, that's Duthie money, isn't it?
A couple of bad investments, though, and you're in the toilet.
Well,
in my case, $20 million and no Canada Screen Award Geminis. Or both.
Or both.
No, I'm just kidding, obviously. No, that's a tough one. I'll go with Puffy because I just think.
Well, didn't we both say we'd live on an island for $50 million?
Yeah, I think we
completely throw our lives away.
No, but I think really you set yourself again. You've got to think of the children.
Yes,
that's why we're making this decision,
exactly.
Right, Puffy?
It's all about the kids. I want them to. I actually saw this thing on the internet, and there's a lot of super rich people that have cut their kids out of their wills. Like, basically, they're saying, like, I don't want to have my kids be spoiled brats, so I want them to do it on their own, so they're not getting any of my money. It's all going to charity. I'm like, that is horrible. That's so mean.
Are you telling like no trust funds or anything? Like
that? Like what's that? Gordon Ramsay. He's like he flies first class. His kids fly coach. He's like they haven't done anything to earn first class.
Wow.
Okay,
That's interesting.
There's certain parts of that are admirable, and I think you have to walk a line. I like the idea of not spoiling your kids. I played golf with a guy this summer who's mega rich. He owns a significant company. I won't name him, but in Canada, no. But I'd say he's worth somewhere between 50 and 100 million.
Holy smokes.
Pretty good.
Okay.
So
does he live on an island?
He does not. He does not have a ring. But he told me he is giving his kids $1 million He has 2 kids, and he's giving them $1 million, and the rest he's giving away to charity. And he says, I think that's enough money for them, and I want them to make it on their own. And I don't think I could do that personally myself. I really don't think I could, but I do admire, A, that he's giving money to charity, and B, that he's saying to his kids, hey, make it on your own. But that's a tough one.
Yeah, and it was like a lot. They had a whole list of all the people that are doing it. I think Bill Gates is doing it.
I mean, let's face it, Puff. If you were about to die and you had $50 million in the bank, the first 30 would go to your gambling debts, and then
the kids would have like
four for Barrett's gambling debts, 3.5 for Austin's gambling debts.
Hopefully, they're even when it all gets down to it.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening.
How are ya? I got a question that I really wanna ask ya. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? Oh, I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. And I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank or the fair? This is the part they call the bridge. A bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? Do you really like the dunk tank at the fair?
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?